Want to know the best time to sleep with a guy that actually builds attraction and has him respecting you? In this video, I'm going to share the answer and it's going to be unique to you. In other words, every viewer is going to have a different answer at the end of the video. That's why this works so well. I can't wait to share it with you. Download the 12 texts to make him yours and I will tell you the perfect time right after this. So those of you who have been following me or followed this channel for a while will know that I'm very much a sex positive, no shame around sex coach. You should be able to have sex when you want, enjoy it, and not have anyone respect you less for it. That being said, it's sometimes easier said than done. So how do you actually make this work for you? In this video, I'm going to share you 7 questions you can ask yourself to get the perfect time to sleep with a guy and keep his attraction. Now, can you have a relationship when you sleep together on the first date? You absolutely can. In fact, this is exactly what happened in my relationship, and she was a woman I hugely respected, and I've seen plenty of relationships with friends, people I know that are exactly the same. That being said, sometimes early sex can ruin a relationship, and if done for the wrong reasons, sleeping with someone too soon is absolutely a mistake. So here are the 7 questions I'd advise you to think through to know when is the best time for you to sleep with the guy. Number 1, are you good at making decisions under the influence of oxytocin and dopamine? Men release a hormone called vasopressin after orgasm, and women release oxytocin while both genders release dopamine. These chemicals bond us to each other and can make it very tempting to make a bad decision. Now, they're not an excuse to make a bad decision in your life, but sometimes that's easier said than done. The first consideration as to how soon you can sleep with a guy or not is about how good you are at making decisions under the influence of these chemicals. Number 2, how much can you physically enjoy sex with someone you don't know so well? So this is a big one, I have to be honest. The majority of women that I've seen who get relationships when they sleep with a guy very early are those women who, for whatever reason, are very physically responsive, even when they don't know the man as well. If you're the type of woman who really needs a strong connection to enjoy sex, early sex is not going to be so much for you. Whereas if you can genuinely have sex for your own enjoyment and take a lot of pleasure from it, obviously you're not going to walk away from that experience feeling used. That means you're going to feel good and really positive about early sex, and you're much more likely to have positive experiences stemming from it. Physical pleasure is a big factor, and the more you can enjoy sex with someone you maybe don't know as well, the more you're going to be able to have early sex and still be respected and get a relationship. Number 3, do you live in a conservative country where the majority of people, especially men, prescribe to conservative ideologies? Now, I'm not saying don't be a trailblazer. In fact, I have a huge amount of respect for you if you do decide that despite that, you're going to be the sexually liberal person in your community. That being said, you have to understand if you decide to do this in a sexually conservative society, you're going to be facing a lot more short-term opposition. And much like any trailblazer, you're going to get some exclusion from that. You're going to have a lot of people that don't want to talk to you for that reason. You should always stand by your own beliefs, but understand that it's going to be a lot harder to do in a conservative society like, say, the UAE or somewhere like that than it is in a Western country. So if you're going to be that liberal person, you have to consider how difficult is this going to be in the short term given my socio-political environment. Number 4, would you have less respect for another woman, say a friend, if she slept with a guy on the first date? The world is our mirror, and we judge others the way we judge ourselves. The women that I've seen that get respect and get relationships from sleeping with a man early are those that would never judge another woman for it. They genuinely don't believe there's anything wrong with it. There's no shame attached to it. And so because they're so strong in that belief, men believe it too, and men don't disrespect them for it. Whereas, and you have to be honest with yourself, if you're the type that you would judge another woman hard if she did that and enjoyed herself that way, you will judge yourself in exactly the same way, negatively. If you're judging yourself negatively, men are going to judge you negatively as well. Number 5, this is the big one. Are you doing it for validation? There's a lot of people, and it is easier for a woman to do this, that if you're not feeling very good within yourself, you're not feeling like you're enough or you're attractive, one of the easiest, quickest ways to get validation is quick sex. But men can sense it. We can all sense when someone is wanting validation from us versus when someone is doing something to purely enjoy it themselves. If you're validation seeking and using sex as a tool for that, you'll find that men will respect you less, and you'll find that you'll feel worse about yourself. People can sense it. If you're gonna sleep with someone early, it's really important you check in. Am I doing this for external validation? Bad reason. Or am I doing this because I purely want to enjoy the experience for myself? A sexually empowered woman would never sleep with someone for validation. That's not her reason, and men can sense the difference between the two. If you're doing it for validation, don't sleep with someone too soon. Number 6, how high is your risk tolerance with sex? There is no such thing as no risk sex. The only way to have no risk sex is to never have sex. There's people in committed relationships who have got STDs from cheating partners, and I have friends that have slept with 200-300 people, like orgies, everything, and they're totally clean. So there is no such thing as no risk, but you have to understand that earlier you have sex or decide to, the more you increase the risk. But of course, you also increase your ability to have different sexual adventures and do adventurous things you might want to do with your life. You've got to decide where you sit on that sliding scale. Always do a visual inspection. Always wear a condom. But remember that even if someone has shown you a blood test, they could have slept with someone in the interim. Right? There is no way to have zero risk sex unless you have zero sex. You've got to decide then where your risk with sex sits along that continuum and what you're willing to tolerate to have that adventure in your life. And number 7, one of the most important for keeping a guy's respect, is are you able to hold a man to the same standard after sex as you did before? The biggest reason men stop chasing after sex is simply that women look at them differently after sex. They hold them to a different, much lower standard. This is kind of related to the hormones that we talked about in point 1. But one of the reasons that I absolutely fell in love with my partner at the time was that I never felt like I'd won her because she slept with me. She slept with me, I felt like she enjoyed the experience, and then I had to convince her, win her over to prove that I'd be boyfriend material. And the girlfriends that I've had, even before that slept with me on the first date, it was always that vibe. They weren't doing it for validation, they were doing it to enjoy themselves, enjoy the experience, and then I had to prove after the sex that I'd make a great partner. I was still very much working for them, even though the sex had happened. So to conclude, what is the answer for you? When should you sleep with a guy? Well, you've got to ask yourself each of these questions. How good are you at making decisions and holding him to the same standard? Are you in a liberal or conservative society? Can you enjoy it right off the bat? Are you doing it for the right reasons or for validation? If you answer all of these questions correctly, you can have sex whenever you want. First date, absolutely go for it. You will have no issue whatsoever losing a man's respect or making good decisions to get a great relationship. But if your answers are wavering on some of them, you might be smartest to hold off sex a little bit so that you can make the right decisions that fit with your own situation, where you're at, your risk tolerance, etc. The truth is there's no perfect answer, and we've all had relationships that have waited for years until marriage or been together on the first date that have been both successful and failures. What's going to work for you is empowering yourself through growth, self-esteem and authenticity, and applying all of these while removing shame around sex. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I really hope that helps you give how long to wait for sex the answer to yourself rather than me telling you. Hit the subscribe button with the little bell and make sure to check out the video on how to keep a guy chasing after sex. I'll put that link up there as well. I've got my free guide, 12 texts to make him yours. Download that and I'll see you in the comments below. Leave your thoughts there. I'll come down and answer them for you. I'll see you in the next video real soon.